Alrighty, another night, another win at home. The Padres still have not lost a game at home. They were trailing 3-1 at one point, and at that point in time, I wasn't like, oh no, they're maybe going to lose this game because of how much time was left in this game. Obviously, them being down, though, was something to note because the past 3 games, they hadn't allowed a single run, and then they allowed 3. And so it was just like, all right, let's see them fight back and go win this game. And boy, did they do that. They rallied. They weren't trying to be the hero. I mean, there were multiple times like Jose Iglesias in that 6th inning with the bases loaded, puts the ball in play. I mean, Mud made a really great remark on the broadcast about like Iglesias, because he had 2 swinging bunts that I believe scored runs. Definitely in the 6th it did. And was like scored Manny in the 6th. How far had Iglesias combined to hit balls tonight? Like 8 feet, which was an exaggeration, but that's what was happening. And I don't care. Like Jason Hayward, for example, continuing in that inning, just not trying to do too much. I'm rewatching it. This is a ball. This pitch, it's a 1-1 count, but he knows bases loaded, put the ball in play, hit something up the middle, and something good can happen. And that's exactly what he did. It's a 92-mile-per-hour pitch that's not even close to the strike zone, but he gets over it, finds a way over the plate because obviously with his swing, he leans over and is reaching to go get there with where he stands in the box, and he still found a way to get it up the middle, and that brought in Gavin Sheets to tie it up 3-3. And then Gavin Sheets up at the plate there in the 7th, pass ball, and it's just the pressure, right? Jackson Merrill, he was the one that had the quote about the Padres, how they apply the pressure, they don't feel the pressure. But even without him playing, like, yeah, that is still ringing true with this team. You have Tatis on third base, you have the bases loaded. That's not a comfortable spot. I don't care who's up at the plate. And when Gavin Sheets is up at the plate, that's not a comfortable spot because this guy, that's not someone that you're like, oh yeah, I'd love to face that guy. The way that he's swinging the bat this season, he has found it, and he's talked, I think, to Kevin Acee and just multiple members of the media this year about like him feeling freer and more. I don't know if more relaxed is what he said, but essentially like he's not trying to search for things. He knows that his swing is working and he knows that it feels right. And he worked on it in spring training. There were stories about that. And he has stuck with it and he's confident in himself. He's not searching day to day if his swing, is this the right swing? Does this feel good? I'm not having results. And so you go searching. That's not what is happening. And so with that, he can just focus on being consistent and continue to have that same swing instead of, again, maybe being in his head and searching. And so we're seeing, I mean, this is like Donovan Solano, David Peralta last year, where talented guys, but not coming off the best seasons, especially Peralta, if I remember correctly. And then they come in, and I know those guys were later than, April 14th, which, well, opening day with Sheets, right? But just props to the Padres for believing these guys, finding something, working with them, and, identifying guys that are willing to put in that work and are willing to trust you as the coaching staff. Because I think him and Victor Rodriguez have obviously there's the Larry Sheets, Victor Rodriguez thing that's been talked about, right? How I think they played with each other in the minor leagues, year, long time ago. But beyond that, like there's just that trust factor there. So, you know, holy sheets. The holy sheets chants. This is like the new Ha-Sung Kim, I feel like. It's gaining steam and it's almost the whole ballpark is chanting that now. Wouldn't be surprised if there's kids that are chanting that. It's okay to say sheets. Yep, it's okay to say holy sheets. Um, Kawhi being in the building tonight, that was fun, and Jamal Franklin. I don't want to, only say Kawhi and not shout out Jamal Franklin as well. San Diego State legends. What it do, baby? That was when he's in the building, it's always fun. Got the loud ovation, and he's about to go on what I hope is going to be a long playoff run for the Clippers. So that'll be fun. And he's healthy. Love seeing that. And then Nando, obviously, I'm kind of surprised it took me this long to get to him, but there's just things that popped up. I know, the home runs are the sexy thing, the highlight thing, right? But for me, I feel like a lot of the time I go to the grit squad type of thing where it's the infield single swinging bunt. It's Hayward, a ball that's not a strike, but put the ball in play, and he saw that was the opportunity there, put the ball in play, um, and good things can happen, and good things definitely happened, and they've happened a lot for the Padres when they put the ball in play. Arise with the homer that he had, that pitch was way inside. And if you go back, I posted on my Twitter, Talking Friars, and I think it's on the Instagram as well. But go back and pause it before, like where the ball is, before Arise starts to swing. The ball is more than halfway there, I think. I went back and paused it. I couldn't totally tell, like with the angle, where the ball is, like from the mound to the plate, but I assume it was more than 50% of the way there. And he was just starting a swing. That's how quick he is. And, those great hitters, they're able to see the ball. They want to see the ball as long as possible. And for Arise to take an inside pitch like that out, I know it was a Petco porch homer for sure, but that's still really impressive what he did. And then what I loved, to me, this was the highlight of the night. I mean, I know there was the Nando homers, but to see the celebration when Arise homers and Manny's there, and obviously everyone that watches a lot of Padres games, when Arise singles, he goes and slaps the chest of David Macias, the first base coach. And Manny instead this time slapped Arise on the chest. That was awesome. I love that celebration. That's probably my favorite celebration. Sure, there's the Nando Manny one, right? That we all know about, but that one there, that just made me crack up when I saw it. And then I replayed it. I posted on Twitter at Talking Friars. So if you didn't see it or didn't catch it or want to see it again, it's up there. But yeah, good for Luis Arise. Again, no one was like worried about Luis Arise when he started off the season like 0 for 13. It's Luis Arise. With that said, it's still great to see him, start to produce more consistently, which he's been doing for weeks now. But yeah, Nando with those 2 homers. I think it was Clark Farrenhold on Twitter. If not, I apologize to whoever did it. But I saw the tweet of Nando. It was, I think, 8 of his last 12 balls were hit over 100 miles per hour, something like that. This guy is on fire. And obviously, there's the two-handed follow-through, the emotion that he shows, obviously, and just Petco erupts. It was erupting in that 6th inning when, there was that rally and there was a bunch of the base runners. But when Nando blew it open there, what inning was that? 8th inning. To make it 8-4, Arise homer made it 9-4. Tatis with that homer. I wasn't there, but just sitting watching this game, it was just like, it was a big relief for me. Not that like the other runs weren't great, but the Tatis one, even though it was for 2 runs and it wasn't like 3 or a grand slam, for me it was like, all right, blew it open, because that kept it from being a save situation. And then they could go to like Wandy Peralta for the 9th inning, which I love seeing Wandy Peralta pitch in the 9th inning, because that probably means the Padres are winning by a lot of runs. And that's the case here tonight. So that was awesome. Tatis for MVP. He was getting MVP chance. I mean, early on, yeah, it's April 14th, but is he the MVP of the National League right now? You probably have to say yes, because, I mean, I haven't looked around. I haven't paid much attention, to be quite honest, with other teams in baseball. I've just been super busy. And, like, for example, I haven't even touched on Dylan Cease because I wasn't able to watch Dylan Cease tonight. I was listening on the radio on my drive back home. But it seems like he was better. Tony Gwynn Jr. on the broadcast, or maybe it was Jesse, was saying, I'm not quoting him, but like how it seemed like Cease was being very careful and deliberate. I think that's what Jesse said with how he was going about things tonight. So it seems like he had a little bit better of an outing, but also could have been better. So we'll see, him make that quest to continue to improve and get back to being dominant Dylan Cease. But going back to Nando, he has a 1,101 OPS right now, 361 average. He's got 6 stolen bases, 12 runs driven in. He's got 6 bombs, 16 runs scored. And by the way, he's doing this on the team that has the best record in baseball and is without Cronenworth, without Merrill. So, yeah, I mean, obviously there's going to be the Ohtani fans and all that, which is understandable. But Ohtani isn't pitching yet. And to be honest, I don't even know like who else would even be in the running right now, to be honest, because again, I'm not following around in all the other leaders. I can look on Fangraphs right now with batting, although this wouldn't be updated through tonight's stats. But these are the leaders in F4 so far. Corbin Carroll, Kyle Tucker, Jung-Hoo Lee, Geraldo Perdomo, and then Tatis. But Tatis homered twice tonight. So, his F4 is 1-1 going into tonight, and Corbin Carroll was 1-5. Tatis, more homers obviously now. I don't know what Corbin Carroll did tonight, or even if the D-backs played, but he's got 6 homers now, more runs scored, at least than Carroll's stats going through yesterday. More RBI. He's a freaking stud. So yeah, he's my MVP so far, but he would probably tell you that doesn't matter because it's April 14th, which it's right. He's right. He would be right about that. But these wins do matter because they're 14-3. You can't take away these wins. There could be a bunch of injuries, rough patches, losing streaks. Who knows? And they may not be 11 games over 500, but they may need those games, at some point this year. So this team, it's been really, really fun to watch. Enjoy this, Padres fans. I hope you are. And yeah, it was good to see no Robert Suarez tonight. But Morejon pitched. Jason Adam pitched. And this Cubs team, by the way, it's not like this team stinks. This team could totally be a playoff team this year. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting game because they're going up against Shota Imanaga, who shoved, I believe. Yeah, he shoved at Wrigley. Now, that's different than being at Petco, but he shoved at Wrigley in that outing recently against the Padres. So we'll see part 2 there. And then another thing I wanted to get to, if there's anything I missed, obviously let me know in the comments. But Connor Joe, he was called up today. This was the news before the game. Brandon Lockridge placed on the 10-day IL with a left hamstring strain. And I looked at Connor Joe and, okay, center field maybe? Would it be center field? And I forget who tweeted this, but I thought I saw before the game that Schilt was saying that Tyler Wade, who started in center tonight, Tyler Wade and Jason Hayward were the Padres' best options in center field right now. I mean, I would, put Tatis in that conversation, but I understand them leaving Tatis at right field. You don't want to mess with anything. Platinum glove winner, like just keep him there. What he's doing offensively, like don't move him, and I'm fine with that. But center field, I immediately thought of Tatis. But Wade Hayward, yeah, okay, and also Connor Joe. I mean, he has played games in center field with El Paso this year. 4 games, 4 of the 13 that he has played in for El Paso were in center field. Some of them were in center. Some of the innings. He played center and right on the 5th, All the other ones that he played center field, it was for the whole game. It looks like. So I mean, I don't know. Connor Joe doesn't stick out to me as like this super speedy guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if they went Hayward in center and then they put Joe in left. Or well, so that would be against right-handers. So I mean, they could go Oscar. They could go um, Connor Joe in left if they want Hayward in center and they don't want Tyler Wade. But if you're going on matchups, it's tricky because if you're going on matchups righty lefty with a righty on the mound, you'd want Hayward and Wade. But who's going to give you more offensively, Connor Joe or Tyler Wade? Who's going to give you more offensively? Oscar Gonzalez? We already seen some of his impact. Oscar or Tyler Wade? So do you just sometimes say, hey, let's screw it and go with the most offense? Or with the Padres hitting the way that they are, do you just stick with Tyler Wade there in center field based on, if it's a righty on the mound, let's say, and you stick him down there near the bottom of the order and whatever he gives you, what he gives you. It's a major league vet, someone that can put some good at bats together. He can use his speed, and you just go with that because there's other guys like Tatis, like Arise, like Manny, like Gavin Sheets, uh, Xander off to a good start this year. Iglesias, Hayward can put balls in play and they can make things happen, obviously, as we've seen. And you just go with that offense. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we see right now. If the offense starts to struggle, then maybe that would change. But yeah, I don't think the Padres were expecting them to have to go to a third string center fielder on April 14th. But here we are. Merrill and Lockridge dealing with hamstring injuries, and they are on the IL. Kevin AC tweeted today, this is going to lead to some sort of interesting outfield alignment against left-handed pitching. And when I saw that, that was obviously before Mike Schultz spoke to the media. And so I was like, well, maybe Tatis, if it's, let's say a lefty's on the mound and you want to go with righties, you go Tatis in center, and then you go Oscar in right, and then you go Connor Joe in left, or, one of those. You can switch that, whatever. But if you want to go with the matchups there, do you go with that? But again, them leaving Tatis in right field, I totally understand it. And they do have offense if they want to just stick with Tyler Wade there with righties on the mound. Obviously, when there's a lefty, that makes Mike Schultz, I think, decisions a little bit easier in terms of like getting the most offense there. And you can go with Oscar and Connor Joe, and then you have Tatis and right. But also, if there's a lefty on the mound, are you confident in Connor Joe's ability to go play center field? Because I don't think you'd put Oscar in center. It would be Connor Joe. Unless I'm not blanking on anyone, right? That's on the bench. So, yeah. I think the Padres, they value Tyler Wade's defense, or his speed, which can help out the defense, is what I meant to say. So they could totally just go with that pretty much every day in center field if they want to. But I would think that they'd like to give Connor Joe the opportunity. They'd like to give Oscar Gonzalez some at-bats. Continue, I should say, to give him some at-bats. Yeah, I'm not forgetting anyone. So we'll see. Sheets could play. He hasn't played it. Has he played it this year in left? He could, but it seems like the way that things are going, they'd like to keep him as that DH as well. But even with the injuries, just think about this. To end this in a very positive way, think about the injuries. The Padres, no Yu Darvish, no Joe Musgrove, no Matt Waldron, no Jackson Merrill, no Jake Cronenworth, no backup center fielder in Brandon Lockridge, who I thought was doing pretty well. That's 6 guys right there. No Brian Hoeing, no Sean Reynolds in the bullpen. Let's not forget about them. and the Padres are 14-3 to start the season. They have minor league deals. They have guys that were coming off core seasons, Jason Hayward, Gavin Sheets, starting in games, and they're 14-3. Props to the players, props to the coaching staff, props to the front office for continuing to have good off seasons and make these under the radar. They're not going to be talked about a bunch nationally. Actually, they're not going to be talked about nationally, but they're moves that I think, Padres fans definitely appreciate at this point in time. So, yeah. And this is with Dylan Cease not pitching at his best. What a start. What a start.